Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Heart to Heart with Dr. Lee Valentine. This segment today is going to be a hometown flavor segment because it's going to be related to our area in East Mississippi and West Alabama, primarily Meridian area. But I am so glad and so blessed today to have two guests with me today to talk about something I think is very exciting about coming up in our hometown. And I've got Barbara Zeller, who is the executive director of the Meridian Children's Museum. And I've got Jamie Cater, who is the owner, proprietor, chief cook, and bottle washer of Cater's Market, which has been an icon here in town for a long time. And excuse me, we've got some exciting, excuse me again. We've got some exciting things happening here in Meridian, and I wanted to bring this to you in the podcast because I think it's great news. And I'll tell you this, Barbara, I'll start with you.
Yes, sir.
I know the Children's Museum was a vision and a dream for several people. And I know they worked really hard. They raised a lot of money. They persevered. They stuck with it. And now we've got a beautiful children's museum in south of town in Meridian, which is a great asset to our community. And I know y'all do a great job down there. And so I'm not even going to try to name the people who kind of started it because I know I'll leave somebody out, and so I'm not even going to even try that. But it's a great asset, and it's served a lot of children in our area. And as a citizen, I'm excited about the fact that it's here and the great job that y'all are doing. So what I'd like you to do is give me a little bit of maybe a history, a story about the Children's Museum and whatever you feel like is pertinent, and just tell us a little bit about the museum. There may be some people listening to this or watching this that maybe didn't know it or maybe have never been. So this might be a good opportunity to try to give us a little sales pitch on the Children's Museum.
Yes, sir. Well, I can certainly do that. I have been with the museum about a year and a half. The museum has been open about 2.5 years. And the dream started back in 2014. So a couple of ladies in Meridian, a couple of moms, decided that we really needed a resource like this for our area. And so, as you said, they worked really hard, they persevered, they made it happen. And so they fundraised. Our community was so supportive. We got some grant money. So, we pursued all the different areas. And I say I was not formally with the museum at that time, but I was involved in some of the efforts through Junior Auxiliary. And then just as a private citizen, I'm a mom of 2 young children. So it is just an amazing place. So 2017 really got the project really going, and then opened right during the pandemic in 2020.
Of course. Yeah, I remember that.
But I mean, things have been great. We have served over 180,000 guests since opening.
No kidding.
We're real excited about that number. We love sharing that with our community. And we're located right on the Sailor Board Parkway, which, is a great benefit to Meridian. The improvements that have been done there with the city, a lot of exciting things going on the parkway. So we welcome a lot of people off of Interstate 20. We do get a lot of guests that are from out of state at our museum. And we talk about that with our staff a lot. This might be someone's only glimpse into Mississippi. They're looking for something to do to get their kids out of the car. They're going from Georgia to Texas. We get a lot of that. And they stop at the Mississippi Children's Museum Meridian. So our museum is so well done inside. All of our exhibits are custom, and they really tell a story of East Mississippi and Meridian area. So if you have not come to the Children's Museum, I would urge you to make some time to come by, because there's a lot of really interesting stuff for adults to learn as well. We have 5 galleries. So we have Around My Town, which focuses a lot on Meridian area history. We have My Best Me, which is our health gallery. We have My Storybook Factory, which there's a replica of the Riley Center Opera House.
Yeah.
A library.
My grandkids love that part of it. But
it is super fun. Then we have Wonderbox, which is our 4th gallery, which focuses on entrepreneurs from our area, and it's kind of our creative creative space. So we always have activities out there that are self-led, and just encouraging children to be creative and feel inspired by the features of entrepreneurs from our area. And then our fifth gallery is actually My Fantastical Backyard. So we have 20,000 square foot beautiful garden, all Mississippi native plants. Again, a great thing for adults to enjoy and learn about some of those plants. And it's just a magical, fantastical experience out there. It's not a typical playground. We don't have swings or slides, but we have a stream, the biggest sand pit, I think, in Mississippi, and a lot of really, really fun stuff for all ages to enjoy.
Yeah. So, and truly, the location of the Children's Museum, seriously, is only, I would say, maybe a quarter of a mile north of the interstate, I-2059. So if you're listening to this podcast and you're not from around here and you're traveling through Meridian, I mean, it's just a one exit, just a short drive to the Children's Museum on Cecil Ward Parkway, which we all know is 22nd Avenue, but Cecil Ward Parkway. So it's very close to the interstate. So you could drop off, go to the Children's Museum, take a break, and then get back on. Any special events, anything coming up in the next month or so that you might want to announce that as far as events?
Well, yes, sir. If you are a member at the museum or if you just frequent the museum, you know we always have a lot going on. We do have educational programming every day of the week, so there's always something new. And then we typically have one signature day every month, which is kind of like a big Saturday. And then we have members only nights sometimes. So, we have camps. So we will be kicking off our Winter Wonderland, our Christmas holiday experience. Okay. It will open on Saturday, the 19th of November.
Okay.
And then we will have our third Peppermint and PJ's members only Christmas party, which is super fun, on December 1st, Friday, December 1st. We'll celebrate Week of Gratitude prior to that with Thanksgiving. We will have day camps during Thanksgiving break as well as a Christmas holiday break. So be on the lookout for those, parents, if you need a day or two to get yourself together. And our day camps are really awesome for enrichment, but also just, your children are going to be doing something really fun and educational in a safe space. And you can have a day to get ready for the holidays.
And I think being in a safe space is so important nowadays to point out, because you really are in a safe space. So briefly tell me, like, let's say that I'm driving along the interstate and I decided I've heard about the Children's Museum, so I'm going to take the exit and I'm going to take my kids to the Children's Museum and take a little break. So what's the cost of admission? And if it's to get in, pretty much if you're not from here, and then I know there's also memberships too. Talk a little bit about that.
So our cost of general admission is $10 a person, 1 year of age and older. Our field trip rate is different. That's not what you were asking about, but it's $5 per student.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah.
But our general rate is $10. And then, yes, we offer membership. So if someone's going to come to the museum more than 3 times in a year, it certainly pays for itself. And then we have a lot of great member benefits, like the members only nights and discounts on birthday parties and rentals and all kinds of different things.
Okay, so really, if you plan on bringing your children more than 3 times a year, really you ought to look at a membership.
Yes, for sure.
It's probably more cost effective, and of course it helps operate the museum, and it keeps it keeps the everything fresh and open and going. So that's good. Jamie, tell me a little bit about Cater's Market. I know that I want to say to me it's kind of an icon in Meridian now. A lot of people know where it is. You have great products, great food, but tell me a little bit about the history behind Cater's Market.
Well, I opened the first Cater's Market in 2006, and it was kind of the height of the Food Network. That was when everybody was watching all those news.
2006?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
2006.
That is a law. I didn't realize it was 2006.
Years.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, my idea was mainly to have, hard to find spices and dips in jars, shelf items. And I started cooking a little bit at a time. And I was going to buy some products from a local caterer, but the health department wouldn't allow us to do that. So I had to kind of start cooking myself. And then once I started cooking, I found out that the customers were the people, not the ones that wanted to cook, but the ones that didn't want to cook. So it just grew in that respect. And my first location, I started serving a little bit of lunch, and then I had to move locations into a building that was a previous restaurant. And once we moved there, became basically a restaurant.
Right. And you've got coffees, and you've got desserts, and you've got lunch, and you've got casseroles and cakes, and you've got a lot of different things there.
We really do. It's really a nice blend that works.
Yeah.
You know, we serve a sit-down lunch. We serve a sit-down breakfast. We're open from 8 to 5:30, but we also have many, many prepared foods, like you said. Cakes and casseroles are a big part of our business. Chicken salad, pimento cheese dips, the very things that we started making in 2007, you know, are the very things that we are still making today. And we try new things and we do new things, but the people still want those staples that we have made from the beginning.
Yeah, I tell you, one of my favorites is the grilled pimento cheese sandwich. I love that. Of course, you have a lot of other good things too. And I will say this: when my wife was going through a little an illness issue, you know, a lot of people brought casseroles from Cater's Market that you know they were not only excellent to eat, but they're easy to fix and just easy to do. So
sickness and bereavement, it's a great place to kind of get something for somebody if you don't have time to do something for them.
It's so you
But
can
we
just
also make gift baskets. That's a huge part of our business. People needing a thank you for a physician or somebody that's done something for them. And people love the gift of food, so we can put all kind of neat little things in a basket, and we do those every day.
Yeah, and would you say that the products that you have in there would you say they're kind of specialty products? I mean, they're things like you can't go to Winn-Dixie or to someplace and get them. These are kind of specialized products.
Exactly. That's what we strive to have. And, I mean, the grocery stores now are doing so much better job with different spices and cooking ingredients that I really moved away from that and do more things that people would enjoy, say, if they're in a hospital and they get a basket full of goodies, or in their office and an office group would share food items. So that's what we look for.
Something different for that, which is really good. And you also have one in Starkville, right?
I do. I opened in Starkville 3 weeks before the pandemic.
Everything seems to be right before the pandemic, doesn't it?
Yeah. I already had a great reputation, and what we do is what people needed. So I had college girls just at a desk at the door, and they were just taking orders and giving people what they needed, prepared foods, casseroles and dips, and it made it. It did fine.
Wow. And you opened that one when in Starkville?
In March of 2020.
2020, that's right. You said that. Yeah, 2020. I'm sorry.
Museum opened.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So I guess the question is now, when will you open the one in Oxford?
Well, I'm probably not going to Oxford. I tell people if I open, it'll go closer to the beach, not further that way. So.
Yeah, I had to throw that in there. Jamie's a big Mississippi State fan, and I love that. But I had to throw that in there. So, Barbara, I'm gonna kind of throw it back to you now. So, since the museum has been opened, and you've had 180,000 people come through and all that, has there been something that you felt like we maybe could have done differently when it opened? Or is there a need right now that you feel like would benefit the Children's Museum as far as maybe comparing it to the one in Jackson, or what we lack here in town with our museum that would be a benefit?
So at the museum in Jackson, if you haven't visited it, you should definitely go check it out as well. They've been open for about 13 years. And we are a satellite campus of the Mississippi Children's Museum in Jackson. But they do have a lot of things different than we do. They're a much bigger facility than we are. They do have a cafe in their museum. Their space is just very different than ours, and it's equally as incredible for children and families. But they took some things they learned in their 13 years, and so when they were putting together the plans for our museum with our team here in Meridian. Took all those things into consideration, but also, budget was prohibitive.
I mean, it was a costly project.
So our building, like I mentioned earlier, the community's been so supportive of, in the beginning, and it was a $17 million project, and is fully funded from all the different funding sources we pulled together.
Right.
But now we're just, really moving into the general operating. Our operating budget is around $1 million a year. So to be able to offer all the incredible things we offer to our community, we still have to do a lot of fundraising. And but within that, we have a bunch of different buckets to fill in our budget. So we at the Children's Museum work really hard to be entrepreneurial. And even though we are a 501c3 nonprofit, we have a strong business model. We have a built-in gap in that, really, especially with rising costs. The cost of our experience is about $30 per person. And as I mentioned earlier, we charge $10.
Yeah.
And that's to help fulfill our vision to be accessible and to inspire Mississippi's children of all backgrounds to discover and achieve their potential. But within all those different buckets, of course, we have facility rentals and birthday parties and our little trading post gift shop at the front, pure development fundraising. And so, that's what we're working on. And I've kind of gone off from the question you asked, but I'm coming back.
That's right. That's good. That's good.
So we don't have the cafe that they have in Jackson. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But then we also, they have an amazing playground that they have been able to bring in. They have a splash pad. So they have a lot of free amenities right around them that helps drive traffic to the museum, but also, just serves as an additional resource for, maybe people that can't pay that $10 all the time. So, but they're still getting a great experience for children and families right in the area. So, of course, we would love to continue to help be a voice and help support and grow our little area of downtown Meridian and on the Parkway. And so, that's just something we're going to, continue to try to help with in any way we can. We've loved seeing all the things going on the Parkway and downtown, and just to be a part of that, we're really proud.
So do you ever have a need, like if you have a group, like a school group, do you ever have a need for box lunches or things where people can go or even bring to the museum or go to do that? Do you have a need for that?
Well, we sure feel like we do. And,
okay. Do you feel like that would be a benefit
yes.
to the Children's Museum to have that access?
Yes. Yeah. So we would love to be able to offer food to field trip groups like they do in Jackson. Currently, they can say they want to have lunch with us and use our space, but they have to,
they have to bring their own.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
And in Jackson, they're able to offer some food for birthday parties. We're not able to do that.
Yeah.
And then also just as a guest service for all of our guests, we have our one little vending machine.
Yeah.
And so just for people to not have to go off site or to have to go to fast food.
Exactly.
Because with children, we always try to send our guests, our front desk staff, we try to keep them highly trained on what's going on in Meridian. And we try to tell people about all the restaurant options downtown and the Max and, all the different smaller museums we have in Meridian. And there's just really a lot of, cultural institutions to share with people. But for people with children trying to get back on the interstate, a lot of times they're interested in, something a little bit quicker and closer by.
Right. Well, that, I always love having a problem. Not love having a problem, but when you have a problem or you have a need, I love it when you have a solution. And one of the things we wanted to talk about today is now we'll center back on Cater's Market because from what I understand, and Jamie, I'll give you and Barbara an opportunity, but the way I understand, there will be an opening of a Cater's Market right next door to the Children's Museum in what I think is the old bank building, right on 22nd Avenue or Celia Ward Parkway, which is going to be a great thing for Cater's Market, but I think it's going to be a win-win for the museum and for Cater's Market and for the city of Meridian in East Mississippi, West Alabama. So, Jamie, tell me a little bit about that development.
Well, actually, Liz Wilson, when she started working on the museum, approached me from the very beginning. They've asked me to go in that building from the very beginning. And I, at the beginning, there just wasn't very much activity down there on the Celia Ward Parkway. And, I just didn't see how it could sustain itself. Mm-hmm. And it's a relatively small building. It was going to take a lot of work because it's, has been abandoned or not used for a while. So I, kept telling Liz no, and she'd call me back after they had been going for a few months and take me back in there. And I, just couldn't do it. Well, then I got busy and got Starkville up and going, and then Barbara takes over the position, and Barbara called me. But
Without knowing, Liz had called.
Not without
did
knowing
not.
that she had called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, by this time, the courthouse is under construction, the police department, the sheriff's department, all the landscaping, and, just
Yeah.
the renovation of that area, the revitalization. And I just thought, well, let me go back and look at that building again and see, what I could do with it. And, my vision was something a little simpler than what I do out at North Meridian in the North Hills district.
Right.
But, and I went over to the Jackson Children Museum and visited the cafe there. And, I think I see what they need. And I think it's going to be a great relationship and great fit. And I'm doing it really mostly to enhance the museum. I mean, it just is such an eyesore on that property. And I think it will be great visibility for us also. I mean, from the interstate. We get already a lot of interstate traffic in the North Hills district. It's surprising. But I do think that there's a huge need for the families that are coming to the museum, and also now all the people that are going to be working in that area, for us to be able to offer salads and soups and sandwiches to those people, but also ice cream and,
Fun
children
things. Children
things for the
Yeah.
children.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
our
yeah.
menu's going to evolve, and it'll be somewhat different, but we'll do our Old Faithfuls.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah.
So I see Barbara clapping, so I know it's a win for the Children's Museum, and I really think it'll be a win for Caters and also for the community. Also, so just as in brief, just like you're thinking about doing like soup and sandwiches and things like that. Will you have any offerings like pimento cheese and the
yeah.
casseroles? You'll have
We're
those.
not going to have the casseroles there.
Okay.
Right now, our plan is kind of to have a sign-up sheet, because we will be coming back and forth.
Right.
And if they
So
want
you could bring them down there. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
somebody wants to order it on Tuesday to be picked up on Wednesday, but starting out, the space really doesn't warrant that, and we're not going to have a full kitchen for preparing
Gotcha.
that kind of thing there. So we're like I said, we're trying to keep our menu simple.
Yeah.
We definitely want the field trips.
Right.
And but we are going to serve our regular sandwiches and soups and salads
Right.
there, and have a case with the chicken salad and pimento cheese.
And you can pick that up too. And of course, like the ice cream and
Right.
things like that would be more children friendly, so to speak. But that
So it's going to
sounds
be called Caters at the Museum.
great. So that's the name, the Caters at the Museum. I love that. That's
At the
great.
museum. And so that way it's on its own. It's not Caters Market. It's a little
Yeah.
entity on its own.
Yeah,
We can do some fun and different things.
that is outstanding. So, Barbara, how do you feel like that partnership, so to speak, is going to be a benefit to the museum? I mean, I think it's obvious, but I want to hear the museum side of that, because I think it's a great thing for our community, but I also think it's a great thing for the museum. So tell me a little bit about how the museum is looking at it.
So, as Jamie said, even back to the beginning, we own that parcel next to us. That's a part of the museum property. And, it's just been sitting there even long before the museum was built. So it has been a vision to have some kind of food availability in that building. So Liz went after Jamie, apparently. And then also, they pursued other options as well. But just with the pandemic, food service, and, it just wasn't going to happen.
Right.
And so now, like I said, we've been up and running for 2.5 years, and just felt like it was time to try again. And so just so excited. It's just, in my opinion, a perfect partnership. I mean, as you know more than me, Jamie is just such a great partner. She has such a great reputation, so easy to work with, so caring, has supported the museum from the beginning.
Right. She has. Right. Correct.
In a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
And so our team is just really excited about it, and we think it's gonna pull people off of 20, which might help the museum, and then the
Right.
museum is obviously going to have a lot of guests that and so we just think it's really, really going to work out so well, and just the option to be able to also have those lunches availability. They don't have to do it, of course, but for field trips, that's just going to be really taking us to the next level and making it easy for schools to have a great experience. Our mission statement is to create unparalleled experiences that inspire excellence and a lifelong joy of learning. And just excellence is a word we use a lot. And
Yeah.
so Jamie does everything excellently.
Yeah.
You're so sweet. Well,
So can you give me a little bit of a time frame? Kind of when are we anticipating this happening and opening?
I mean, it'll be by the first of the year, if
Okay.
not before. They're already working on the building.
They're working on it, so
It's
maybe before the year.
space, so I think it's going to go fast.
Okay.
I mean, December's a busy time, but if we can get the right people in place and it gets ready, you know, I'm willing to get down there and try to get it open when they get the space ready.
Perfect. So just for clarity, you're going to have your sandwiches and the typical thing, and you can order things. What about if the Children's Museum needed box lunches for a group? Would y'all be able to do those? Okay, so that's a big part of it. Okay, I wanted to make sure that they understood that. Yeah.
And they'll pick what they're going to choose, you know, how many sandwiches they need, you know, peanut butter and jelly or turkey or whatever.
Yeah.
And not just for field, you know, we've been talking a lot about field trips, but not just for field trips. Like the other day, we had a group of about 30 seniors who came to the museum and had a lunch and, you know, just got to have a tour because this is something I haven't mentioned yet, but, you know, if somebody does just show up at the museum and wants to pay to come in and they don't have a child with them, we don't allow them to do that for safety reasons. So
Right.
we'll happily offer a tour. You know, any of our staff or directors will come and, you know, welcome someone. But I want to dispel that you can't come to the museum if you don't have a child. We would love to have you at the museum. And
Sure.
we'll figure out a way.
Sure.
Right.
With be it a tour or if you want to sign up to be a volunteer, whatever.
Right.
But
Right.
but yes, if someone just, you know, shows up without a child, we won't allow them to come in.
Sure. So if a group wanted to come to the museum and they once you open and get started, would they contact Cater's Market or would they contact the museum to make an order?
So we will have it linked on our website. So when people, there's a form people fill out when they book a field trip. So that'll be an option on there. And then through more of our facility rentals side of things, it'll be added to our website, and that'll probably kind of filter through our director of museum experiences.
Okay.
And then she'll coordinate with Jamie about different food needs. So just trying to keep it really streamlined.
Streamline is simple, and that's always a good thing.
That's right.
Yeah. So, well, this is exciting news, and I wanted to get a podcast about this as far as one of the hometown flavor segments because I think it's exciting for people who support the Children's Museum. It's for people who maybe don't know about the Children's Museum to know that that's going to be a possibility, and I think that partnership is going to be great. Is there anything else that I have not covered or asked you about that you'd like to mention about the Children's Museum or Cater's Market or the partnership?
I think we covered a lot.
I do too, and I'm just excited. I
I'm
think
excited.
It's going to be fun.
And I'm excited. And I want to thank both of y'all for coming in today and sharing that information with me and also with our listeners and our viewers. And I appreciate your time and your patience as I try to get this set up. It took me a little longer than I thought, but they've been very kind and very gracious. So that's going to conclude our episode for Heart to Heart today. We are so glad to have Barbara Zeller and Jamie Cater as my guest. I'm so glad to have them as my guest, and I think it's exciting news for us in Meridian. So until next time, stay safe and stay healthy.